and Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We are on episode 63, and I am a huge fan here, so I'm just gonna be probably distracted, just like want to ask, just listen to these guys talk. But today I have Justin and Louis Saturn from Cherry Mantis. How are y'all doing today?
Doing
pretty
great.
good. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. I am really pumped. Like I since I've like first like found you and started listening to you, it was like flabbergasted that I never heard of like Cherry Mantis before, because I didn't hear like about you guys until like we booked the Donovan Malero show and played, and I was like, how haven't I heard it? And then I heard some of the songs before that show, but live like was my real introduction, and it's so really like I swear I need to increase my vocabulary, but it's a really like pretty feeling like in all these songs. It's like really nice. Your instrumentation is like incredible, which just now like speaking to you, and like I know some of you, but you guys like some jazz training like behind it, which seems to like incorporate into some of those songs.
Yeah, for sure.
So you were saying that like you've been doing, I mean y'all have been doing that for a little bit now.
Yeah, we've been like me and Louis. See, I already messed up.
You messed up.
Me and Louis
No, you're
have
good.
been. We just talked about this at our last gig. We had a gig this past Friday at Double Wide, and we were just talking about how we've been playing together for 10 years now, since I was 14. So like
I was 16 at the time. Yeah.
So like we've been playing in different groups since then, and we started Cherry in like the end of 2017. But the lineup we have now was like March of 2018. So this is 5 years with the lineup.
5 years with this like lineup.
Yeah.
Because so it's y'all two, and then it's Jenna who plays keys and
Jenna
does vocals.
on keys and sings, and then Gabe, a boy Rothling, he's on lead guitar, and then Michael Heatley on bass, bringing the heat.
Yeah,
He sings too.
Yeah.
He
He's
writes
actually
as
trying
well,
to sing
yeah.
too. Yeah.
I've seen that in shows, and that's one of the things. Like I sing all the time, so like anything like vocal, like is like what catches like initially my attention. So when I came in, I forgot what song was playing, but you guys were playing. But your vocal harmonies was like you and Jenna that I was listening to, because I didn't know you were singing, so I was looking to who else is singing. So I was I looked at Louis and I'm like, is it like, no, he's not singing. Like, who's it? And I looked at the back, I'm like, oh shit, like he's singing back there and drumming, which already like is. I'm so like not coordinated, so how like playing drums and like singing like it seems so
It's
wild
a
to
hard
me.
skill. That's the hardest one to me, I think, honestly, out of all the instruments to sing with.
I don't play any other ones really, so it's
Just one focus.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I always wanted. When we started the band, we were in another band. I sang background kind of a little bit, but Louis didn't really sing at all. So like when we started this band, it was kind of like we want to sing.
Yeah.
So like anytime we were writing anything, it was like, okay, I want to sing here. I want to have a harmony here. So singing and drumming was just kind of like, I wanted to sing and I knew I wanted to play drums, so I kind of had
So you
to
had
do
to
both.
like
Yeah,
you
I
had to
do
learn to
both.
push yourself
Yeah.
to do both. Yeah, because like, I mean coordination with drumming already like is already like multiple things that you're doing, and then
4
plus
limbs.
singing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's really good.
Congrats.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. I mean, I try.
Yeah, give a little hand of applause. No, that was again. It was such a like nice introduction, like for me, like to your band. Is hearing it live, and then live it's sounding amazing. You know what I mean? Like live it's sounding really good. Which is always like one of my things that really makes me like happy when I see a band and it's like, oh, this is like the whole live experience will make or break like bands like for me normally.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And yeah, you're really good. So I'm really happy that I got to listen to that. But so both of you were the original like members of Cherry Mantis. Like y'all started it just you two?
Founding members, I guess
Founding?
you could say.
Yeah, it was. We were in another band, and Louis just had a lot of songs he was writing that didn't really fit the band we were in. So it was just kind of like, well, we'll just start another one. But when you're in more than one band, it can be a little.
It's tough to share time a lot and whatnot, especially because we were basing it in Arlington, and the other one was based in Fort Worth at the time.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, I was still living in Fort Worth because we're from Fort Worth. We went to school out here, and we were pretty much raised out here. And when he went to UTA, a lot of our focus kind of went more to Arlington. So even when we started Cherry. When we were looking for members, it was like we kind of ended up looking around UTA or other musicians we knew in Arlington. So it was us, and then we had another guy playing bass that we knew from Fort Worth. His name was Adam. Shout out to Adam, wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
And he actually, because we weren't really friends with him like that, but he was the guy we knew played bass.
Yeah.
And he's the one that actually named our band.
Really?
He thought of the name Cherry Mantis.
And neither of us liked it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of grew apart.
He still doesn't.
It's fine. We got music out now, so it's a little too late. It's fine. It's grown on me more since that.
Did you lose the boat on that one?
Yeah, pretty much.
We both had different names that I don't even want to talk about. But yeah, he was like, I really want to be in a band called Cherry Mantis. And we were just like,
what?
Okay. But it stuck. And he was in the band for a while, and then like just things fell out. And we had Gabe join. Gabe was like 16, I think. When he, when he first like got with us. And he was just excited to be in a band with us because he was a freshman my senior year.
Okay.
At the high school.
I didn't even go to school with him. I went to school with his older brother.
Okay.
Actually, but not him.
And so yeah, we started to kind of Gabe kind of is a founding member because we like started the band with Adam, and then like maybe 2 weeks later, Gabe.
Yeah.
joined.
Oh, okay.
He was
Yeah,
there
cool.
very in the beginning.
And then months later, we got Michael and then Jenna. And Jenna was the last to join the band.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
She didn't even sing at first.
Yeah,
Just doing the keys?
We had someone else singing female vocals at first. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I sing. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, because it was like a time period. We had this, one of my friends, and she kind of came in and she was going to sing, and then Jenna joined to play keys. Because we always wanted a female vocalist, and we always wanted keys in the music. And Jenna joined, and I don't know, how did you even know Jenna?
I don't know. I mean, well, she went to UTA too, and we were doing the same degree. She was a percussionist at UTA.
Okay.
I'm a tuba player, so that's how we met, just having the same classes together and whatnot. And then I was like, well, I mean, you play like marimba and stuff, and I was like, and I don't even know how I discovered that she played the piano. But
Yeah.
I think maybe she like posted stuff, but like either way, she'd never been in a band before.
Oh, so just all just like during school and everything, like bands and stuff, like
yeah.
band.
And I guess she played piano since she was a kid and stuff. So she joined the band, and I think the girl we had singing, she just stopped showing up, and like I was like, and I was friends with her. I was like, hey, like we got a show in March.
Like, hey, I vouch for you. What are you doing?
And she was a really good singer too.
Yeah,
so I was like,
sing a while.
what's going on? She was just like, oh well, I got this thing going. And I was like, okay. And so I remember we did a show, and only he sang the whole show.
Yeah.
And then after that, I asked Jenna. I was like, I told him, I said, I feel like Jenna can sing. I feel like she's holding out.
Yeah.
Like she can sing. And he was like, I don't know. And then one day we asked her. She was like, yeah, I sing a little bit. And then like she like sang, and then like months later she wrote like a song, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Jenna, wait, you've been holding out for real. Yeah.
So you see us struggling over here with this thing.
So we almost were like a 6-piece that was very dysfunctional, and now we've been
Very
pretty
dysfunctional.
strong.
More of an organism now.
Yeah.
But having to learn like about each other, that's a cool discovery though. Like to
Yeah.
have someone like weren't expecting to do it and just like comes out. And then they've already like been in the band for like a little bit, so they understand the dynamic like of how songs are written, like what you're expecting out of it, and then finding out that she can sing. 'Cause, I mean, Jenna's really fucking good.
Yeah,
Like really good.
And we're so lucky to have everyone that joined, because it's just not we really started this band out of like frustration, and like we had like the vision in our mind, and somehow it like happened. Like we really wanted
All the pieces came together.
Yeah, we really wanted someone that was like really could shred on guitar. We really wanted a female vocalist in it, and we really wanted keys. And he's a bass player too, so we were very picky about bass players.
Yeah.
And like Michael is just like insane. So
He's
it's
a
like
monster.
everyone
Yeah.
that came in the band, like they checked our boxes. So it was pretty awesome.
So that's what I kind of like about your bands. Like everybody individually is like so talented, and it's for me. I would like say like it's. You get a bunch of like talented people, and like then you start. For me, like I always like try to say like, okay, what would be the issue with that? I'm like, oh, is it like an ego thing or something? But it's so like it flows so well. Like everybody gets their times to shine, and like it's really like, it doesn't feel like a bunch of it's just cohesive. It's just like really like well, like every instrument flows so well with everybody else's parts. So writing wise, like how do you like, is it somebody primarily takes the reins and like, or like build skeletons for it or outlines?
Yeah, I think oftentimes, more people have started to write over the years, like their own songs collectively. So, but typically though, like one person like has their thing, we all play chordal instruments. So like Michael plays guitar too, so he does a lot of his writing on there. But someone will just come with like this general form or something like that. Maybe they have words already, but generally everyone just comes and like gets their own part together for the most part and stuff like that. But oftentimes even then, like we come like with like, especially with me, I come with songs. I'm like, oh, okay, here's like this riff I have in a B part, but I could use a bridge or something, and then Michael will be like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm
Michael is the bridge man. Like anytime, because Louis probably does do the majority of like especially our first album. It was mainly just like all the songs Louis had just in his back catalog, and then he brought it. And then a lot of times, especially back then, we would just get together to rehearse and then end up writing a song like in the rehearsal.
Okay.
And like someone has like a couple chords or a riff, and then we end up having a song by the end of the rehearsal. And that was happening a lot. And that's kind of like where a lot of the songs we ended up turning into real songs came from, were just like jams or something that would happen when we were together. Yeah, but now I think since then, in the 5 years we've been together, Michael's written stuff like Michael's written songs where it's just like he pretty much has all the parts, and we just kind of like figure out how we would like rather play it ourselves. And then, Jenna and Gabe has written at least 2 so far songs since we put out music. Yeah,
so everybody's like getting their chance now.
Yeah, and me and Louis,
Jenna's got a song too.
Yeah, Jenna, she wrote Clear was on our first project. That was our first single. And Michael came up with the riff, and then Jenna, like, she wrote the whole thing, the whole song.
Oh my gosh.
All the words and stuff. So ever since then, me and Louis would always kind of like get together in our downtime, especially during the pandemic. Like Heatwave and Blossom, those 2 EPs we put out in 2021. Those were like from me and Louis, just like, all right, just come over our house and let's just write stuff.
It's like, can't do anything else. So that was like that was an interesting moment for a lot of bands in like the pandemic. It decided like, what are you doing like with this time? Like you're either gonna like sit out and not do anything here, or just, hey, we can't play shows or do anything like that, but we can write. Like we can definitely write. And it definitely showed like who put that like importance into that. Like it's like, okay, let's make the best use of our time and y'all obviously did,
Yeah, we were.
But you were touching on something. So writing during jams is something that when I was in a band, it's something that I like loved doing. I like that. That was my favorite way of like getting songs written. Because I never like, it wasn't really going in like, oh, we're writing something today. We were just playing, and then like the other side was that our practices would go on for so long, but we would just start playing, and it would be like sometimes we'd end up playing like other people's songs, and then this and that, and then someone just plays something like a random little riff, and you're like, what was that? Okay, keep playing that again. Yeah. And it's a bunch of like, okay, just loop that and keep playing that same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Again,
that's how it goes.
But it's fun. Like it's just the most organic way of like music writing, and it just feels so like right. Like I've always had like the kind of feeling like if something's like too tough to like write, like if I'm like sitting on it and for hours and like I was like nothing's coming up, nothing's coming up. I used to like force myself to write something, and it ended up being like real shitty. Like I was like, or not like the best like idea. Yeah. So I had to kind of learn how to like, okay, let's just step back and leave it alone like for a while, and then when it comes back up, which, if I'm in the car driving and listening to it, that's the only thing is like instruments. Like if we had like some sort of like instrumentation or some like instrumental like that I could loop, I would just like it would be constantly in my head. So that's the only thing I would do to let ideas pop up like normally, like organically. But yeah, if it was too hard to like crack a part of the song, or I couldn't think of like something else, I'm just like I would get frustrated, and it took like a little while to learn. It's like okay, just let it go, let it breathe, and come back to it later if at all.
Break sometimes for sure. Yeah,
I think that's we've done that not even really on purpose with some songs that we're working on even now have been like riffs that Louis has had for like since we were like teenagers or something.
Oh my gosh.
And that we just never actually like finished. There's still one that I bug him about.
He said I forget it exists until he brings it up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'll be like, you remember the one that goes like, and he'll be like, what?
What are you talking about?
And then he'll play it and be like, oh yeah, and it's never gonna be a song, and it's really good too. It's really good.
It's pretty.
But yeah, that we've kind of like we put stuff in the back of our mind and then let it kind of like cook, and that actually happened with a song we wrote recently. It was a riff that we worked on. Kind of like back when we were working on Heatwave, and it never became a thing. And then like I had him come and record with me and my brother, and we kind of made up the song there, and he just recorded his guitar, and then he left, and then I sat on it for like maybe a week or two, and then wrote lyrics and stuff to it, and then I had Michael come over and record bass, and we programmed the drums, and I did all my vocals and when I sent it to everyone else so that they can do their parts, and they were like, "Whoa, this is a song!"
I was gonna say, I only heard the guitar, so when I heard the whole thing with the bass and drums,
so you left and just like,
so that was my first time here too.
Back, it's like, this is like almost done.
This is like a month. This is like a month and a half ago. He just came and just did the guitar, and like for the whole 3 minutes of the song, and then I sat. And I'm not gonna say where I work, but I drive, and I would like play it in the car. And it's just guitar, and I would like stop sometimes and like my windows down, and people are just looking at me like he's just listening.
it's just a guitar.
And I'm just like yeah. And I was literally writing the song just while driving. I think that's how I've done majority of my writing.
That works.
But it's I mean, and then, you're right. Like other people like just looking in on you, it's just gonna be like, what is that? Like is that like that's not even like a song or whatever. But like in your head, like you start hearing those parts. Like you start hearing like, oh, this is like where like the drum, like this is how the drums are in my head. So in your head, it's getting played as an actual like full song because you know what instruments you're putting in here. So you're filling in the blanks that aren't on the recording. Yeah. And that's why I love that about like the ability now, like how easy it is to just like record stuff like that and like ideas. Like I stress that so much to like everybody, like how like really, really, really important that is in writing music, because if you have an idea, because before, like I would look at before, like the way I used to practice, like we would have an idea in one of the practices, and if it didn't get nailed down there, like maybe next week we have to refresh on it first before we can start writing on it, because we don't remember like how the parts were. But if you get a chance and you're able to record, like I said, that whole like guitar thing, then everybody in the band could have it like looping and figuring out their parts at the same time. So when you do get like to rehearsal or something, everybody at least understands that loose structure of like this. And it's like, oh, okay, this is where I think it could go. But the ability of just being able to record yourself, and you said like you work a lot with your brother who like helps you like do all that, which is really nice to have like someone that can help out and like, hey, I have an idea.
Dude, it's so. I was talking to my girl about this. Is like, I'm so lucky that my brother decided to pick up engineering out of nowhere because like he was making beats and stuff, but like that has helped even Cherry do a lot of stuff like my solo stuff. But Cherry, like this, what we're working on now, he's pretty much carrying a lot of
it,
a lot of the engineering, and
his turnaround's pretty quick too.
And he's just got a great ear. So I'm lucky that I have someone that like anytime I'm like, hey, can we do this, and he's just like, okay, and he makes it sound a lot better than whatever was in my brain. And just even if you don't have a guy like that, the fact that you can do a lot on your phone, and
very
almost
true.
anyone can get a DAW on a laptop.
It's a bunch of free ones.
So
not gonna lie, we use a free one to do this
I
podcast.
was like, why are we spending money on it? But think about it, like 15 years ago, that totally was not a thing.
Oh no,
so
like it was a lot. Always like the only thing I used to hear about all the time was like Pro Tools. You needed and then like now like I don't even hear about Pro Tools at all anymore. It's like the most inconvenient one to use.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta pay. You gotta pay to use.
Yeah, I know. And then there's like. There's free DAWs, there's free plugins, there's like a lot of stuff where you can like have a decent set, and even like the actual like physical equipment you need like is not as expensive and crazy like it used to be. Because it used to be like you need to have like a little small fortune or like like a loan. You
have to go to a like you're not recording in your house, and if you are, it's going to sound bad. Now it's like
that was the expectation always. Like if you're going like yes, you can record in someone's like bedroom, but it's gonna sound shitty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like every time, and like you can get but now like these are like. Dude, whole albums and stuff are being recorded in like people's just like bedrooms and stuff like that, and it's really hard like to tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can get stuff and put it out, which is I feel like was one of like the biggest maybe setbacks for like bands and stuff that would like it would take them forever to put out some sort of like single or EP or anything or album. then by the time they were able to do it again, you know, you have to build up that like money, like not only just write the music, but then you have to like save up to go into an actual like studio. Logistically, like just even being able to get in the same room together is like tough for like a band. You know what I mean? Like the bigger the band, everyone's got like responsibilities and other stuff that they're doing. And then getting able to, and then when you were recording in the studio, normally you all had to be there because you all had like it was on time limits or everything, so everyone had to be there to get all their parts done. And it's just more flexible. Like now that you can do it, like I said, at home, where you know if you track that, you know, you came over, tracked that guitar, like went away, I'm done with it, you know, and then everything else keeps getting done. Like you don't have to be at an actual place like to do it.
And I mean for our past projects, you know, we've always gone into studios. We've been like lucky enough to have like connections. Like even our first project was done at what was it, the UTA?
It was done at UTA, the studio there, because Jenna was recording. Oh gosh, sorry. No, she was a music media student, is what they call it. But she learned record, and they had access to the studio a lot.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, like Tasty Jams was done all there, and then I think maybe one song was like Gabe did it at his house, but like everything else was done in the studio, and then. The next projects were done at. Gabe used to go to Media Tech or something. He used to go to school.
Oh, that studio's cool.
And so we recorded there, and then anything outside of that. And then we also recorded at the Kitchen Studios, which I think we paid something, but it was like Jenna, you know, knew somebody. It's like we've been lucky.
Yeah.
That actually like the only time like payment really came into play is for like the mastering. We'd go to Aaron Payton. Paper Tone Studio. That dude's fire. He also has a studio in his house, but he's like legit. Like he really knows how to engineer. He's got like a board and all that stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
And so we recorded stuff with him too. But yeah, we've been pretty lucky to be able to like record in full studios and not pay thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's an expensive thing, but like connections, like getting to know people, like in the business and just like that scene and stuff like that, to know who does what is like the easiest way to be able to get stuff done. Plus, like once you get to know them, that you build a little bit more of trust. Like, I mean, one thing like you're saying with your brother is like, I feel like you have that trust built in with him where like I can record really comfortably like here. And I know like if you're adding stuff or doing anything, like it's gonna reflect like the same ideas. Like you understand me. But yeah, getting to know more people gives you just access to like just, again, things that if you don't know anybody, it's so out of reach, or it feels like you're just like getting a service, you know what I mean? So that's one thing. Like, if you don't know them, because I've had the instances where like I recorded people and didn't know them, and it was really weird. It felt like really cold and stuff like that. So it's so I like the ability of like getting to know the people that I'm gonna like be working with before like I actually like dedicate a project to it. So connections like just help out so much. Plus you get access to try different experience in different studios, because like those those studios, I know the Mediatek, like we recorded there once. Shouldn't have been recording there at all, but we knew somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember like being freaked out because it's like a giant room that we're in, and like I'm recording vocals or something, and I'm just like standing there and I'm hear the mic. And my friends who did vocals before, he's like, "Hey, when you're in there, wiggle your toes." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You can hear everything, and that freaked me out so much. I literally was there. I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Why can't I hear that?" Let's make it out.
Top tier mics.
Yes, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, don't." They're like, "Don't drop anything."
Yeah, don't take your keys out of your pockets.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I didn't know like how much that. Oh, it was such a like a cool experience. But that's really cool that you guys have gotten the chance to like do everything like that and get to know people. Is that how like you're working on like the new stuff now, or is it someone particular that you're working with? I know the mastering you said
it's been a mix.
Yeah, it's so with this one it's like half and half. So like Aaron Payton, Paper Tone. He, like I said, he has a studio set, like a real studio set up in his house, and he just moved back to Fort Worth, and like I've seen his new setup, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's where we've done most of the full band recordings, where we all recorded at once.
Because we've done a mixture of like, I've been like programming the drums with my brother. So for like Assumptions and Lion, like I did programming for that, and then for a lot of other songs, it's like live band, and we've all been in the room to record with Aaron. So it's kind of this album more than anything else. Is very half and half, like kind of at home and then going to a studio.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes. What do you prefer? Like, just I guess from like that live entire like band performances.
It depends really just on the track. I think some definitely are just easier to get it with the full band, but I mean some of them just have more of an electronic sound to it, you know what I mean? And for that, I definitely prefer doing it like with Crazo with just the one at a time kind of vibe and creating it from scratch.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I mean, some songs just wouldn't really work. Kind of trying to program and then having everyone sing their parts. Some like you kind of like capture energy recording. Live and in the room, and just
Definitely.
even how I drum. Like I would prefer some songs like that. I'm not punching it in. I'd rather like.
It feels different.
Yeah, I'd rather be playing and interacting with the band and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
There's an actual that's I think it plays a lot more into like feel in that case. So like feeling like feeding off the energy of everybody in the room must feel like awesome, like playing these songs and like being able to again, you're not recording one. Like I think they both have their place. You know what I mean? Like they both, like you were saying, like some songs call for it, some songs don't. But I know that playing because I know the feeling of like playing live in general is like such a like great feeling. So being able to capture that recorded in a room is kind of nice, and it's hard. And I mean it's hard to capture that sort of feel from a live performance on a recording.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's pretty difficult.
It's a lot more pressure in the studio for sure.
That's true.
And this is the first time I think like I don't think for any other projects that we actually recorded with a Met. Usually I'm like nah, no metronome, no metronome. But this for a lot of songs we really did kind of lock in.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely some songs definitely needed that.
It's necessary sometimes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a difference I feel with what we're working on now versus in the past.
Yeah, the metronome thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started band, I played like in a metalcore band. But like when we first played, we never used the metronome, and I'm like, it's fine. Like we just go out there and do it. And then we started playing. Like we went and recorded an EP, so we had like backtracks and stuff that we could use. And I'm like, oh, like okay, so we'll have to play to click for these to work. And then I was listening to like both. I was like, oh man, we go all over the place because like you get caught up in like energy, and then you're like, oh, some part is like faster than the other. I'm like, oh, this is way better. Like you can hear the songs. And then we got to do cool shit like add lights and stuff like that were like automated because of like the click tracks or whatever.
Really cool.
But just everything, and then just being able to know like, oh, if we start here with the click track, like we know the show's ending like exactly at the time. So like set times and stuff like that was a lot easier like to work around with. But little stuff like that, yeah. Being prepared for the studio is like another thing that I like didn't know was a thing. I was just like, we just go like we've been playing these songs, you know. So I was like, I should be able to do this.
Just go in there and
go
play.
in there. Like it's funny. I keep bringing the story up, but like I'm so happy that we got to play per song. I mean, we had to pay per song because I did so many takes and like literally go and spend like an evening recording vocals and be like, none of that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and learning that is like, okay, how do you go prepared? And it's like, yeah, knowing your parts, like practicing to the click, all these like little things like are super important when you go to record it, just to be ready for it. So you mentioned, so currently Cherry's working on an album.
Yeah, I let that slip out, didn't I?
Yeah, you don't have to talk about it. We can cut.
No, I mean we've been putting out singles, kind of like feeling it out.
It started as an EP. Originally.
Yeah, because we put out 2 EPs. We were like, oh, we'll just put out another one. But I think the more we started writing and...
You're like, oh, this song's good. But I like this one as well.
I like this one too. So it's like we kind of started formulating a list.
Yeah.
And I'm usually the person that's like putting together
that humble brag. There's like, I guess this song's good. This song's also good. Man, I guess we're gonna have to do an album. You know, we wanted to do an EP, but I mean, I just keep writing bangers, so I'm just gonna have to write this.
I can't lie.
It's just it also helps that like we're in a band full of writers, so it's like someone will just have like, hey, I did this, so it's hard to like, okay, we'll save this for later. It's like no, it's like
no, let's use it now.
Yeah, let's use it right now. So yeah, it went from EP to album, and we're still working on it. We're not sure exactly when. Like we're still recording. So and we've been recording for a while. Yeah. Just because it's hard to get us all together. Really,
especially an album. Album takes it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Album's a lot of work. Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's more music. First of all, and then like. Sometimes, depending on what you're like, the way you want to release it, and like figuring out how that goes. Do you guys play a lot into like the strategy behind like releases and like how to like promote in a way? Like, is that something that you've?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm the only one that really thinks about that stuff.
I think we're more conscious of it for this release that we want.
Yeah. In the past, especially the first one, it was just like. let's just put it out. And even with the first album, we released it. It was March of 2020. And if anyone remembers March of 2020, that's when the pandemic really was like, everything is over.
So we got shut in.
Yeah. So we've kind of, we more so with the recent stuff, we've been more conscious of like these dates releasing on a Friday because of this, sending it to playlists here. And we're not like, I always am like, come on guys, let's make a TikTok here now.
Yeah.
But we're not TikTokers, sadly. Like, even me, I'm like, let's make a TikTok. But I'm like, I'm not going to make a TikTok.
Even Gabe, who's like 22.
Yeah, Gabe is the child.
It's like, Gabe, you're supposed
He
to
should be a
know.
TikToker.
And he's like, I don't even have a TikTok at all. Oh, shit, he doesn't have it on his phone. So, yeah, it's like we tried, but like for the most part, we're just like, just trying to make music we really like.
Yeah.
And putting it out.
It's a weird... I think it's weird that transition has been made like over the last year, where now it feels like you need to also be a content creator at the same time, and then
very much,
and then it's stuck because like when you don't know how to do things, like you normally it's like, okay, what are other people doing, and then you start like trying to copy that, then it doesn't feel like normal to you. It's like it feels like the only thing I've noticed in like stuff that's worked, where I see like it's people figuring out how they do it and cater it to their own self. So stuff that like. Basically look at it as the stuff that you would actually want to see, and then just cater like what do you feel comfortable, and that's why like people like when they do like little playthroughs or they play all these like little things or whatever type of content they do, they figure it out that way. But it is a weird thing when like you keep seeing all these like artists like blow up because of like some sort of little trend, and you're like, oh, like I want to do that, and then they try to figure it out. And there's a lot of stuff that like is catching on like that kind of don't have it, like I don't have an experience with, like for example, like I know y'all just released like a sped up version of one of your songs, which has been happening a whole ton, you know what I mean, that people like are enjoying and things like that. So it's something, and I think something like that is kind of a fairly simple thing to do. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to actually
it's not hard.
Okay.
It's not hard.
It's like, all right, it's ready. I was like, oh.
Yeah, okay. It's really just finding one that's not annoying. Like you don't want to speed it up too much, and it's like, oh, this feels like the Alvin. You remember YouTube?
Fast enough.
You remember YouTube when they used to do the Alvin and Chipmunk version of the song? It's like you didn't want to do that.
What an era. But still fast enough to where it makes a difference. Though.
Yeah.
You hear that,
and it's still listenable. I think that's mainly, and then like the slowed and reverb people. Yeah.
That those two, that's been like happening a lot, and it's just a way for people to enjoy. But I've had that happen, and then go and like actually like enjoy the artist, like the original versions, and going like, so it does like work, and it's not. I feel like that's a good one because it's like not as time consuming to get done, and also costly. Like it's a way to get like another like song out there.
Yeah. It's kind of another way to like pretty much breathe life into the original song, because that's happened to us.
Catches attention.
I think that's why we wanted to do it. What song? It was a song.
It's a song called "Tech It" by Cafune.
Cafune,
yeah. So it was like I had heard the sped up version from him, and I'd never heard the original. And then I was like, I like the original better, but I would have never heard it.
The fast one blew up pretty hard. It was getting radio like on like.
And TikTok has blown that up too. So it was like. I went back and listened to their other music. I was like, oh, they're actually.
Oh, yeah. I went back and listened to like that album. That's the artist. So when I like mentioned that's the artist that came to mind, because that's the one I'm like, this is kind of catchy. And I heard like the original. I was like, oh, there's an original, and I'm like, I like that. And then I heard the whole album. Like, this is a really great band. I'm like, this is so.
But that release was a while ago too. But then the sped up just made it relevant again. And like I was like, oh, there's a music video too, and like this has a lot of hits on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's smart.
It's just a way to get someone to discover your stuff.
Yeah, which I mean, as an artist, you mostly want to focus on just like, oh, I just want to write the music, I want to play, I want to do what I want, but you also want people to listen. So getting more people to listen is like one of the fun parts about being like an artist. Is like, yes, the creating, the playing it live, this and that, but other people listening to it is that other half of like that enjoyment. It's like someone else listening to your songs and relating to their lyrics in their own way, or liking the instrumentation, or even getting inspired to like start playing music or anything like that. Like there's all these like little things that like music is so interactive, like and that's the cool part about it is how a song that you write about something in your life affects a stranger, and like they like now like that's their favorite song too, and then then with shows like that's your interaction with them, like they come up to you and be like, oh, I really like this song, like I really like your band, all these things. It's a really nice like part of being like a musician. Like
For
it's
sure.
a little like a bit of that like reward for feeling like, oh, okay, cool. Like I enjoyed doing it, but now like I enjoy that someone liking the same stuff that that
being
you
able
wrote.
to relate to something that you do as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Special.
It's that like connection and community thing that I think like most people like kind of like want, and like most of the things that they do is feeling like oh, okay, I'm not alone in here. And like, oh, not alone. Like what I like,
all
the
going
music
through
that I write. Exactly. Yeah. All the time.
Sad boy hours, man.
Is that so? So you write some of the like lyrics and stuff like that in the songs. Do you typically lean to a certain subject matter like always, or do you kind of bounce all over?
I was saying, I would say 90% of the things that I've written are experiences that I have had in my life, and maybe 10% have been something I just like a story.
Are always about girls. Every song is about some type of heartbreak or love, or that's.
Yeah.
We used to say this thing at the beginning. He used to say this thing at the beginning of all our shows.
I said it on Friday.
You did? Okay. What is it's like our?
Like, hey, we're Cherry. We're here to get you in your feels about girls and God and stuff like that.
Yeah, like because Jenna, a lot of the stuff she'll write, it will have some type of relation to God or like faith and stuff. Okay. And then, we're just like, girl broke my heart. So it's like, it's usually one or the other. I don't know.
Yeah. There's one song that's about
There's
something
a couple
different,
songs about different stuff, but that's
it
like
is
this
mostly
much compared to
romantic
everything else is
or
like a
tragic.
relationship. Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of. I mean, it's kind of not easy to write. Well, I guess it's kind of easy to write about. It's just like it's so. Relationship is like something that hits so close to like emotions, to like anybody, all of them. You know what I mean? And then like it's like a very like powerful like emotion to like anything, like all of those emotions you experience in like relationships. Like love, like frustration, just like anger, like all these things. Like it's very strong. So like relationship is like something that even like every time like. I still like write, and that's literally like what's the like comes to mind. Like I don't know, like it's just
I mean, it's just like when you're writing about your life, I guess, and like the age range we're in, it's like relationship stuff, school stuff.
You're dating around, you're seeing what's going on, trying to figure out your life and whatnot, and what works, what doesn't work. Yeah,
and that's usually where the music is coming from.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way too, just to be like, oh, what are you experiencing at the moment? Yeah. That's what like I do admire like people who can do like stories like writing. I forgot what band it was. I think it was like I listened to an album. I think it was. The album was Connector by I the Mighty, I think. And I heard like the back, they had like a commentary on Spotify or something. And I like all these songs sounded like super personal, all these things. And then he goes through them, and I'm like, none of them are things that happened to him at all. They're all just like made up experiences, like stuff. And I'm like, yo, these are like really like good and like vivid. I'm like, how are you doing this shit?
It's so funny that you said that, because I think that's might be like, because we all write. And I feel like Lewis, Jenna, and Michael, for the most part, really write about like their experiences. But I the song we were just talking about that he did the guitar for, I sent him the lyrics first before I recorded it, and he was like, "Damn, this is really good, man. Like, who's this about?" And I was like, Nobody. Like,
I was kind of teasing. I knew I was like, I feel like he made this up. I was like, I'm asking.
Majority of what I write, it's just like, does this sound compelling? Like,
you're telling
yeah, like, so like a lot of people come to me, they're like, bro, who hurt you? I'm like, nah,
nobody.
It's just like, I'm good.
You're just him. You're just that guy.
I'm just him.
Oh, but it's great. It's a different perspective for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I'm able because I the relationships I have with my friends, male and female, and bandmates, I usually kind of like take our conversations and think about like a lot of their perspectives. So, like when I go to write stuff, usually I'm like, this is probably how she felt about this, and so I'll write about this. Because like some songs I've written, like just for my own stuff, it's like I'm in the perspective of like a girl, of like a friend that I've heard them talk about like what happened with a guy they were talking to. I was like, yo, that's a song. That's heat right there.
One of your friends are like crying, bearing themselves. You're like, yo, this is a banger.
I'm sorry.
He's like, damn, keep it coming.
Yeah, keep crying. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, that's another reason I really do like our setup, is like we all are pretty different.
Yeah.
And listen to a lot of different music and experience life very differently. So that comes together pretty well.
It's a recipe.
Yeah.
Stream the.
But it works though. We're definitely a good conglomerate group of people.
But it's good. It's good. Then it. I mean, it took a little while to get like all the members to like. Was there ever like a time where it was like kind of conflicting with everybody, like being that everyone's a writer, or like it kind of started off a way and ended up smoothly?
It was.
I think it's always been pretty smooth. That's the thing about us. Like we've never had like beef or like gotten in fights with each other or anything. It's all very chill. I think some people, if anything, could be like less neutral sometimes. And stuff like that,
if anything, everyone's way too neutral all the time. Like, so man, because I mean, when we first started, Louis had the majority of like the songs. So it's like it really just he's very open with any song he writes. He's never like no, we're not doing that. So it's really like everyone's very creative. So if he has a song and someone wants to go somewhere in the song, he's pretty open. So everyone's kind of like that.
If we like it, we like it.
Yeah, and I'm probably the only one that's very like no, that was bad. Please don't do that.
That was bad. Justin is the pickiest one, but it's a good trait to have.
Because if I wasn't, we wouldn't have any music. Everyone would just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It helps give the extra push that we need for sure.
You definitely. I think that's kind of essential to have like at least one person like in the band to be like. Say if they don't like something or things like that. I mean, because at the end of the day, like all those types of questions, for the most part, normally, unless you have like, someone in your band who's just like trying to make it all about themselves. But normally, it's like at the end of the day, the goal is to make a good song, to make good music. Yeah. So any sort of like criticism or stuff like that that's being done, it's because like it's for the benefit of the song, for the band, for everybody.
Yeah, and we're all so open to anything. I mean, I think it's just. We already like do each other for so long, and I mean we're practically like siblings. So it was like we already kind of had that relationship. So I think when anyone that joined the band kind of like felt that, like, so it's never there's just like you said earlier, there's never really been any drama or problems, which is actually crazy because it's like it's been so long. And Jenna brought that up at our last show. She was like, man, like. We all get along. I love this band, and I was like, yeah, it is.
It's like these. It's funny because these are all like the simplest concepts. And like, we should be getting along. Like, we should be friends. Like all these, and then you see bands trying to like force it or fake it. And like, I mean, I don't know like your other projects or like what drove you to like because you weren't writing the stuff that you wanted to write, kind of, and that's how kind of Cherry happened. But. It just takes like being in a band not only takes like being able to write good music, but it's like that band dynamic. Like you guys actually enjoy like playing songs, writing together, like with each other's company. And I think once you have that like chemistry and dynamic, like writing music just becomes like the easiest thing. And which is cool with the way like y'all gathered members that it worked out as smooth as possible. You know what I mean? Because like, drama in bands is just like it. I mean, it happens or whatever, but when it starts hindering like music that you're writing, like it just kind of sucks.
Fleetwood Mac, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
oh my god!
But it worked for them. But I think it definitely tears a lot of good groups apart. Sometimes, so it's important.
It's we're. I just think we're lucky. I've been saying that for years that we just all and also it's hard to be in a band where everyone's kind of has the same goals too. I mean, some people are just like, yeah, I'm in a band because it's fun, or yeah, I'm in a band because I'm bored right now,
and that's fine,
and which is cool. But it's just like the fact that we've all kind of had the same goals since the beginning, and still like we all. Also, like I feel like love the band, which like is like because we've been in other bands like before or played for other people where we're just playing, like that's what we're here for. Versus like this is like a
passion project. A passion project and just playing or like making money and like
And we've been able to make money, thank God. But we're all very passionate about Cherry Mantis.
Yeah.
I'd be too if that was my band, dude. I'd be passionate about Cherry Mantis. But that's how I used to figure out like what I was passionate about, and like what people's like passions were. Like that's my one question that I would like ask them, like, okay, what do you do? Like that no one tells you to do it. You don't have to do it. Like you're not being forced to. And then what do you spend your time on that you like don't even like think about like the time you're spending and that it's just because it makes you happy, not because like you think eventually it's gonna, you know, make you money or do all these things for you, which is like, what is that thing? And once you find that thing, just keep doing it. And like eventually, like if it's like a field that does like create like some sort of revenue for it, like you'll find it, but you have to be as like genuine and authentic towards like that project, in order for it to get there. You know what I mean? Because and there's a lot of stuff, and I guess that's one of the things that I just find like annoying. Like when we're talking like social media and stuff like that, like the cookie cutter trend things are the things that like kind of like. I get it, like I see people like doing it, but then like some people make that their whole like personality kind of thing, and that's where like it gets a lot of attention. But for me, I'm like, there's no way you can keep that up. You know what I mean? Like it must be so exhausting. Yeah. That's why with like building content, if you find a way to just like keep being like what you are, like in yourself, and then figure out some sort of way to record it, you know, that's like, I mean, with the internet and shit, there's so many careers these days, like that, like no one would have guessed would have exists, like, you know, 10 years ago, like,
dude,
you know what I mean, or whatever.
The beginning of YouTube, I don't think anyone making YouTube
you can
videos.
eat food on camera, and like people like sit there and
make
watch
money.
Yeah, make a lot of money. Rich.
But that's something I mentioned to them when we were talking about, like, oh, let's make TikTok. It's like, dude, we sit around in our rehearsals and do funny stuff like all the time, and make terrible jokes all the time. We're just not recording it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want us to like go and try to think of like dances and stuff. That's like what we not. It's not how we act already. It's like whatever we're already doing. Just like pull the phone out and record it, because it's good. And like, I mean, just because if you're faking the funk, you can't do it for so long. It's like you're gonna get burnt out. So
yeah, very, you know, even as long as you can keep it up, like eventually like it's just gonna get tiring. And then like the people that you picked up because of what you were doing, now you're tired of it, like you're gonna lose those people as
Plus
well.
You don't want to do trends that aren't even really related to your music or like your style anyway, because whoever you pick up is gonna be like, okay, well, can you do that again? And you're like, I don't even do that.
Like, I want to see some dances. What are you doing? I want to see those drums.
Oh man.
Yeah, that it's an interesting time for like social media and things like that. It's taken over quite a bit, for good and bad. Like I said, you know, I've found some like great artists like because of like some of those trends and things like that.
It's a tool to use.
Yeah,
for sure,
absolutely. So let's see. Recording the album, I had something else. So the first time I saw you guys was at the Donovan Malero show, but you guys have been playing live for, you know, quite a while now. Do you have any like shows that are like coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a couple this month. I'll talk about at least the one that's closest. It's on the 23rd. That's a Thursday. It's at Ruins with Shibby and Electric Ants, and I'm pretty excited for that one.
So that'll be our first time at Ruins.
Yeah, it's our first time playing Ruins.
Yeah. So. Ruins is still there, man. Look, Deep Element's changed quite.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
which maybe hopefully for the better. I don't know.
Hopefully,
it's, you know, a lot of crime. Anyway, outside of that, there's one we have also right after that at Caves, which we haven't played Caves at all this year, and I think that's our first show in Arlington this year. So. That'll be with Have Near and Said the People.
Ooh,
you've had them
both, Have Near. Both of those are really good.
Yeah,
It's at Caves.
Yeah, it's at Caves.
Damn, I need to make that one. That's a fucking hell of a lineup.
It's gonna be a fun show.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, Have Near. Yeah, I've had both of them on. Actually, Have Near. Sam Farr, who plays in that. I did a podcast with him, and I had to go all the way up to Denton to do it, but they had like their little studio space. When we were talking like home studios, like he had like this entire like giant room. And I'm like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was looking. I was like, oh, like you can really like build up your own home studios, stuff like that. So you were talking about, so you have like solo stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, yeah. I like that. Also started in the pandemic. Just kind of like, I've always wanted to sing, and I tried like rapping, and like I do it for fun, just jokingly as a kid, and like in school. But never like actually like wrote raps or anything. So that's what I started doing in 2020, and then put a project at the end of the year, and then kind of since then, going into 2021, I formed like a live band, and Lewis plays bass and Gabe plays guitar, and so it's like I do solo shows too. So, and I'm also working on new music too. So yeah, it's being in Cherry definitely helped get that going because it got me more confident singing. So when I was doing my solo stuff, it's different. It's different. You know, it's more R&B rap, but like also I have like indie.
It's still
it's kind of mixture of everything.
Do you feel like it, like like the stuff from Cherry like bleeds into like a lot of the stuff that you do?
I mean, because I write a lot. Like I have half of a lot of stuff where I get a lot of beats from like Royal Family. That's like the collective I'm in that does like rap and stuff like that. Okay. So I get like beats from them, and my brother is a producer. He makes beats, and then sometimes I'll like literally sit with him and write a song and then program beats to it. That sounds a lot different from like my more like trap rap stuff. So it's like no project I put out usually has a lot of the same sound. It's usually just a mixture of a bunch of stuff.
It's a good blend. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's kind of bled into Cherry, kind of like where we're going with this project.
I was gonna say we have a good mix of that stuff too. So
Yeah.
Well, that's
kind of bounce off
Louis
each other.
raps on a song.
Really? Oh shit! Nah,
It's
this just turned into Sway's universe. Drop a hot 6 guys.
No. I'm not that guy.
We got beats over here.
Louis is a rapper. I'm telling you.
Have you done that before? Like anything just like for fun? Or?
I meme around with it a lot, like in friend hangs and stuff like that.
Louis
but
be spitting, bro.
I rhyme. I rhyme. Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try it too, so it was cool to get a shot with this.
Yeah, one thing like first of all, I love like just genres bleeding into each other and just adding like different elements in that. But with rap and like hip hop, a lot of the stuff that like drew my attention to it is a lot of just cadences of stuff. So like I used a lot of like hip hop heavy influences when I like did like the screams and stuff for like a metalcore band, because I'm like, dude, like the rhythm of it and just like the syncopation of things like it's just really cool, and like the way raps get built and like the different changes and flows and things like that is really like it's such a cool like concept and musical concept dynamic. So it's easy like to be able to bleed that into everything because it's all just music. Like, background,
and I think that's how we even approach. I mean, we had an idea that we wanted to do like an indie pop band, but because we all listen to so many different things, it's like when we were making, especially the new stuff, it's like why try to like put us in a
don't put yourself in a box.
It's like let anything because I mean a lot of people are like, I've heard different people tell Cherry like what we sound like. I remember years ago they were like, oh yeah, you guys are like an indie R&B band, and we were like, oh okay,
yeah.
And then they're like, oh, you guys are so, I can hear the jazz when you guys play, and so it's just.
I think of different.
It's cool to hear that like you don't get one like solid opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, and they're usually right. There is definitely like multiple things in there.
Yeah, they're never wrong. It's just never like what we're thinking about.
Same. Yeah, I'm like, oh, and you're like, I do hear that now that you mention it.
Yeah,
like
it's not on purpose.
We played, we played double wide Friday and Dylan, I'm bad at names, but he's in Electric Hands.
Yeah,
he came up to us and was like, "Do you guys listen to Yes?" And I was like, "Nah."
I know
you
the
guys
one
sound
song
just like Yes. Like, and then because he came to me first, he's like, "I have to talk to at least someone else. Like, you guys have to you have to listen to Yes all the time. You guys sound." And then Lewis is like, "Yeah, I know that one song," and he's like. You guys are just incredible. The vocals, all that. And it's just, I think anyone, if you want to make really good music in whatever area, it's just listen to a lot of music,
a lot,
because it'll bleed into what you create anyway.
But so it ends up being, I think it ends up, you end up like with more interesting music, the more like the bigger the variety you have in like your music taste. When it comes to writing your own music, you get such a blend of like different elements, because I mean that's all your musical like creativity is. It's just like amalgamation of like every like influence you've ever experienced, and just like pulling it literally doesn't even have to be like you don't have to pull chunks out of like music or songs. It's like it's literally bits and pieces of here and there, and you create what sounds good to you. And like I said, your brain is the one that's like, oh, all these things would sound good together, and you look back. And then, like I said, when people point it out, that's sometimes the time where you're like realizing it. Like, most of the time it's like, I didn't do that on purpose. Like, but people heard this and that. And I'm like, I'm never like, no, like that's not like what I was doing, because like I have no idea like where I heard it. Like it could be the one a song I heard one time, you know what I mean? And then like that's some part of that like grew, like just stayed and brewed in there until like it made sense into a song and put it. But yeah, that's why like it's my I don't have like an issue with it, but like I find it so limiting when you are writing one genre of music or what what you think your genre of music is, and you only like listen to like that genre of music. Yeah. You end up with a lot of like just similar and copy things
and
of
they
it.
Release the same album over and over. Basically,
yeah.
too,
but it's like also like you're just not. I mean, I guess because growing up, that's just was. When I was young, I wasn't really allowed to listen to a lot of music. So when I got to a certain age, it was like 10 or 11, really, when I started to listen to just like so many different types of music, and I just couldn't really imagine like just listening to rap or like just listening to heavy metal or it's like. You don't like want to adventure into like over here and it's like pop
like food,
something or
food and wine. Like there's so many things I want to.
Yeah, it's like just eating pizza every day. That sounds terrible.
That sounds pretty terrible.
Well,
I mean, pizza's good.
Maybe that's a bad example. Corn dogs.
That's sad. That is
oh my gosh.
But you want multiple things. You don't want to just drink from the same fountain every day. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, I love the way I discovered like other genres because I never. It's weird because like because of how like passionate I feel like about music now. That growing up, it was just whatever was like playing. I mean, I guess access to music was also like not the easiest thing for me. Like but so everything was like what's playing on the radio and stuff like that. But every time like I discovered like something new, or like a new like genre or whatever, like that's what like I easily fell from like hip hop and like rap into like when like my cousin introduced me to like Linkin Park and like new metal and stuff like oh that's an easy bleed over because like it has like a similar like elements, it's not I'm like oh okay, and then every time like something new I discover it's just like a really great feeling because like you discover like a new genre, a new band, it's like okay, let me dig everything I can about this stuff, and it just grows, and then like now to the point where like I'll listen to I my music taste just jumps around, and it's so like it's just really great. It's a good movie because you can be in a lot of moods. You can listen to some. You're open to so much more music. Because I used to be very limited. I used to be like a fucking big hater back in the day. Just like, and just like stuff like if a band changed like what they sounded like, I was like, oh, that's not what like them. But playing in music and stuff and being in music, then I'm like, yeah, like who the fuck wants to play the same like style over and over? Like you want to like keep challenging yourself and finding new fun. That's what like so many people like have a shit ton of projects done like at the same time like that you want to do because you want to be able to flex every bit of that creativity that you have.
I mean, that's kind of like, because I mean, I don't want to veer off too much from Cherry, but we started another band too, like. During the pandemic because of that, because Lewis plays bass and we wanted to. Well, I mean, he did the work. I just showed up. But he met my girl and we started another band back then for that reason. Like even though we do try to do a lot of diverse music in Cherry, it's like kind of wanted to itch that other scratch. Yeah. In other ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or scratch the
it's the other scratch.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But yeah, like so. I just
there's a song name right there. It's the scratch.
Write it down. But like nowadays, because of music being so accessible, it's like there's no way you can just listen. Like you can literally find any album, almost anything on Spotify or Apple Music. So it's like you can be very open to all typs of stuff.
Yeah. That's
more than ever.
More than ever. Yeah. Literally, it's very easy to.
You don't have to use LimeWire, dude. Napster is dead, right? This man said Napster for 25
I was using Napster for a while. I recently switched to Spotify, and my life has changed.
Napster was still around.
It is still existing. Yes.
Did it? I know they redid it.
Customer.
Yeah.
Is the only
He was the only person I've ever known to use Napster.
It was Rhapsody at first, but then Napster bought Rhapsody and just slapped their brand on top of it because I guess Napster's application was trash, and they were like, yeah, we'll just take your interface and all that and use it. But Spotify is just it's superior.
Yeah, I'd send him songs and he'd be like, this is not a Napster.
Can you send a YouTube link?
Like, no!
Yeah, honestly, like that doesn't that annoy me. So when I had a band, I was like I guess the only one with Spotify, and so I kept sending people songs and like nobody did. So like. They came up with the family plan. I was like, fuck, I'm paying for Spotify for all that. So every member like has it. I was like, I need to be able to send you shit and you listen to it. Not like he's like, let me load it up on YouTube. I'm like, no.
And that was us for years. He'd be like, okay, I'll look at this. Oh, they don't have it on Napster. I guess I gotta go to YouTube. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah, dude, I remember when streaming first like started, the first app that I ever used was one. It was MOG, so it's just like Mog, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like my friend found it, and he's like, "Flute, look up any song you want," and I'm like, and it's basically what Spotify and everything is today. Like you could look up anything, and it was all like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, and it was like, I think it was like $5 or something stupid, like low. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like every song that was just like revolutionary. And then like, I think that's the one that like Beats bought, Apple and like Beats, and they like screwed it up like completely. Like they made it. They took away like the algorithm part of it, which was the cool part that like, which is what I do love that like in Spotify and like a few, like it's really good like to suggest like new things based on what you listen to. Like it's very nice.
This
to that.
man, he's finally experiencing.
Like I've found like a lot of new music based on like stuff like that. So it's
even this last month already, I'm just like, man, I listened to like 200 more songs. Like it's cool.
And it's like it's Spotify. They know what I want somehow.
Exactly.
In the different genres I listen to, they still find the right stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah. Definitely. It's been. I know like there's a lot of like grievances against like Spotify and streaming website and stuff like that. I just think like with the times, I feel like you just have to find other ways to like monetize.
Yeah,
because
for
the
artists,
access, the access to music has just been like the biggest like blessing to like music lovers, and just like even as an artist, you being able to look up every song. I was like, I think that's such a great benefit. Like, so anybody can look your stuff up and listen to it like whenever they want, and just the access to it. You know what I mean? Like before, if you want to listen to all those albums, like if you had to buy every one of those albums, like dude, that's a lot of chunk of change.
I'd be in debt if I had to buy all the music I have on my Spotify.
Yeah, awesome.
But I think I definitely, the benefit I think is way it's definitely, I think, I don't know if it's worth it, but it's for me in my eyes, like it's opened me up to so many like many new artists and things like that. So the benefit is like amazing. I think for artists for access to be able to get to it. So you have a few shows coming up, working on an album that someone let slip over here. It's fine. It's fine. Anything else you guys have going on before we wrap up?
We got the Ruin show. That's pretty much
Ruin show on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate y'all stopping by. Honestly, I really, really do appreciate it. Like I said, I'm a super big fan. I know like all of us in NoiseROT are really like big fans of it. So like,
thank you.
We'll always support and stuff like that. Like you guys write some of the coolest music and just like great. It's just nice vibes, man. Like I hate saying that so too, but it's true. Like I just like to really like it's really great music, and meeting y'all, and I've met Gabe when I met Lemonade Stand, so like that's how I like met Gabe, and then like Jenna from y'all shows, and then she also plays in like the Yasmin band, so like I met her there. But anything you guys have going on, just send Dara. We'll try to help and promote as much as possible. But we definitely love y'all. And then whenever y'all get close or finish that album, if y'all want to come back and talk about it, always welcome.
We might switch some players out. Might have Jenna come or something.
Maybe we'll have a bigger setup by then and be able to get the whole band in here. Who knows? But yeah, again, thank you for stopping by. And this has been episode 63 with Cherry Mantis. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Sounds and breakdowns. Better lose your man. We should run away together while we still can.